Wait up.
Action.
Wait up. Oh.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of It Depends, I Guess podcast. I am Caroline.
I'm Jackie.
And we have...
DJ.
Woo!
Welcome back.
Whoa. Welcome back. Yes. We are in season 2, episode 2. And
Yes.
we are so happy to have you join us today. So
Yes.
today's episode, we're going to talk about dating, love, relationships, marriage, partnerships, and all the ships that float you. Or float us.
All of them.
All the ships, yes. But before we start off with our episode, let's see. How has your week been since our last episode?
It has been good.
Okay.
Yes, I'm
define
trying to
good.
remember because
It feels quite short since we
Yeah,
last had the
I
episode.
know.
Yeah.
It's been good. I think on the weekend I did there's a very grown activity.
Yes.
I went to sleep in the sun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had a lazy day and I was
Yeah.
like, we're going to take laziness to the next level.
Yeah.
So I
In
went
the sun or the shade?
in the
outside.
shade.
I was gonna ask
That's
because by now your skin color should have turned completely
Yeah,
dark.
you know,
'cause
this is a weird thing. Africans, we grew up in the sun.
Yes.
At least I know it's Africans. We grew up in the sun. But then when it's hot, we avoid the sun.
But I think it's the European sun. Honestly, the sun in Kenya doesn't hit this bad.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
So I went and found a nice, and it was so odd because it was the public pool. There's
Yeah.
public, like pools, grounds, whatever you call them. And so in my mind, I was just like, oh man, it's warm today. I'm sure everyone is out. Kids have clothes for summer. So
Yeah.
it's going to be so full. It was full, but it was all full under the sun. Under the shade, just so much space. I was like, yes. So I just went to the shade with my book I didn't really read and just took a nap.
Yeah.
And just relaxed and just nothingness. But then then it was interesting to see how the people chase the sun. So
Yes.
as the sun is going down and there's more shade, they're kind of like trying to stay in the sun versus I am opposite. I'm like, no.
Give me the shade.
I want to be warm but cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was good.
And I have to admit for sure, we burn more than somebody with white skin.
Oh, yeah.
Like being under this sun, you literally are melting under the sun.
Yes. Yeah. And then I don't like the itchiness and then the peeling.
Yes.
I'm like, skip all that.
Yeah.
But it was a good week. Then I was thinking to myself today, there's a podcast I listened to, it's a Kenyan podcast called IRIP. I try to watch honestly, should be another conversation about my attention span.
Yeah.
Since post-COVID has been nil.
Yeah.
So I try to stick to things like listening to podcasts, watching certain series. But anyway, I try to catch up when I can. But one episode that I caught up with recently was something about doing things afraid. And I listened to it this week, maybe the day before yesterday. And that's literally stuck with me because I feel like I'm in a season of my life where I feel like I'm doing things afraid.
Yes.
Like my current existence is me
Is
waking up.
it?
Yeah. I truly wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh shit, are we doing this? Yeah, we're doing this. Okay, we're doing this. I don't know. It's a mixture of excitement and fear. And that thought to yourself of, man, what are we doing? Like, is this dumb? Should I be doing this?
Yeah.
And every response to it is, it's probably dumb, but we're still doing it. So it really resonated with me because I feel like I'm in a season where I'm just, questioning everything like, okay, should I be doing, should I just not? And I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck it. We're doing
with
it.
it,
So that stuck with me.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And the weekend, at least we had good weather. Again, the weather is always a topic that we love talking about.
Yes.
But yes, getting to, was it 32 or something
Yeah.
degrees?
Yeah.
That's a good summer day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What did you get up to, DJ?
Biden stepped down.
Yes.
I was really rooting for him. But unfortunately, no, it's not going to work out for him. That's a lot of mostly working. I was in Basel. Yeah. working, just DJing. You know me. I'm always about my work.
Yeah.
100%.
Basel is like 45 minutes from Zurich.
From Zurich,
how does it drive 45 minutes?
45 minutes.
Yeah.
Listen, Tando, make that in 30.
What? You get
I'm
all
joking.
the cameras.
That is a joke. That is
all
a
the
joke.
speed
Okay.
cameras.
Where's
on
the
your back.
haha when you need one? There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, this week has been easy. The weekend, actually, I spent it at the lake. The weather was fantastic. I discovered new spots to go swimming. I did not swim, but now I've discovered I'll go swim there. And also, we are going through work transitions, and this week was sort of a lot of reflection on what next, and anyway, finding systems, how things work, and figuring out, actually brushing up on my resume, which I've not done in ages.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of paperwork, logistics.
Yes, logistics, paperwork of work transition.
Yeah.
So I've been deep in figuring the next things out. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. And it's
Yes,
been a
yes,
good
yes.
one. So, and so let's start off with our topic for the day.
Ooh, yes.
Lead us. Show us the way.
Should I?
Yes.
This is one of those episodes. Just go with us. We don't know where this will end up,
Yes.
but let's just go on this journey together. So, well, I have been very famous for saying how unreligious I am,
Yes.
but I was listening to a Christian podcast. I know.
It's good. You can always
Yeah, I try
find,
to.
yeah.
I try to listen to. I don't know. I just try to listen to different perspective, different pockets of things.
Yeah.
And in this podcast I listened to, they're talking about, I guess, marriage, partnerships, etc.
Yeah.
But specifically talking about marriage, and it was a millennial. And he
Okay.
was talking about, he's I think also maybe a pastor or like a church elder. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
I need to figure it out. But he was talking about how millennials approach partnership from a consumer mindset versus what should be a covenant mindset. Now, their explanation of consumer mindset is thinking about, what about me?
Yeah.
Like, how can I be happy? Am
Yes.
I happy in this thing?
Yeah.
How do I feel?
Yeah.
How do I blah, blah, blah. That's basically the explanation they're giving of what a consumer mindset is versus the covenant mindset. Now, that's how I was listening to a Christian podcast because of the term covenant.
Yeah.
But then they say the covenant mindset should be thinking about the other person
Okay.
and not yourself.
I thought covenant is about two parties making a pact. So it should not necessarily be about the other person. It is you coming together to make a unit, and that's a
But according
covenant.
to, I guess, his basis of covenant is based on a Christian,
Yeah.
a Christian perspective. It should be sacrificing for other and not for self or something, or sacrificing self
for the other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hope the other is also sacrificing self for you.
Ideally.
It should not be
Ideally.
one way.
And then I was thinking to myself, oh, that's interesting. And I think I was listening to this, and I'd kind of been listening to other things that really made me think about, what is it about? Oh no, it reflects back to a different conversation I had with someone of a older generation.
Yeah.
And the thing about, you people, like, you're getting married as much as, in their generation, etc. And I remember saying, but maybe people now, I'm kind of trying to figure out what makes me happy and things like that. And I remember the person saying, who gave this ideology that there should be happiness as an expectation as part of marriage? And I was like, wait, what? And they're like, you people are always thinking about, being happy, etc. You get married, you have children, and you do life. And I was just like, okay, all right. So reflecting back to that conversation and this podcast I was listening to, I was thinking to myself, are we overthinking life? Or are we overthinking this whole love, dating, marriage? Are we just overthinking it?
No, we are not overthinking it. first of all, that concept of not seeking happiness, yeah, I am flawed by the fact that somebody would think
Yes.
not seek happiness in marriage. Then why are you getting married?
But so that's a good point. Now we are going to go around the table, around the room.
Okay, we
So
do
maybe
around the
let's
room.
yeah. So let's start.
Yes.
In terms of just the concept of love or partnership or whatever. What influenced you, like, and how you think about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like let's just like now, but not now. Now, like I'll get the next one will be like now. But growing up,
Yeah.
what did you have ideas about love, about marriage, about like, and where did those ideas come from? Were you observing? Were you told? Like, what was your thought process about love, dating, relationships, marriage, all that?
You know, to begin with, I think I might be the worst person to ask this question. And simply because I didn't grow up in a unit that represented a typical partnership. So like my family set up how it was, yeah? So ideally, most people learn about marriage through what they observe growing up from their parents. And by this, we mean there is a mother, there is a father. Now, this has changed in the recent years. It could be two mothers, two fathers. But traditionally for me, I grew up with only a father. So for me, I didn't observe what partnership looks like in my home setup. I knew you grow up with a parent, it's fine. They can be themselves. You can self-sustain yourself as a single person, live your life. And if you have kids, you raise kids. Yeah, my mother passed away like when I was really young, 7. So anything that I learned about partnership and marriage is what I observed either from media or from my friends' parents or from, I can't say relatives because we didn't interact much with relatives, but my idea of what partnership and marriage and love even looks like was observing how my friends' parents lived together. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And what did that look like? So what did you, based on observing that,
Yeah.
as a younger version,
Yeah.
what was the idea of what love or marriage would look like? Were they milestones you wanted to achieve in that space, or were you like, oh, I'll have 6 kids and we will be like, what was, or I'll be walking on the street and my handkerchief will fall? Like, what was the...
Honestly, like, there was no ideology about love because, you know, traditionally, like, marriages were very transactional. Me observing my parents, my friends' parents, yeah? So, like, it would be the father goes to work, their father goes to work, the mother stays at home. The mother, I remember, like, our very close friends, the mother would do knitting, sewing. She had a shamba, so like a small farm, and the father was a teacher. So for me, it was like, okay, there are 2 people raising kids, and everybody has a role that they're playing. There's somebody bringing formal money, and there's somebody else who's taking care of the kids. So there was no love in the aspect of what I was seeing because PDA was not a thing. You don't grow up with public displays of affection in an African country in the village. Actually, that's unheard of. Yeah. So you just know there are 2 people raising kids and that's it. So the idea of what love looks like is the princess movies of what I saw. Like, a girl goes, there's somebody who wants her, and then she's fallen in love. And of course, by the time you get to teenage, you can see, you start getting all these feelings. So you start looking for what represents the feelings that I'm feeling. And that comes with media. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you? Like,
Yeah, okay. Similar. So now I grew up in a 2-parent household.
Yeah.
With siblings. And it's interesting because I think there's similarities, even if I was in a 2-parent household.
yes.
Show off.
In the I'm coming to you next.
You've said it twice so far. We heard you the first time.
2-parent household.
Gang.
Take a shot every time I say that. But I still, when now I started watching movies and for us, we're the generation where TV kind of found us in the way, right? So
You had already actually become grown before.
yeah,
Yes,
before now, because we had the TV that starts at 4:00.
Yeah.
So by the time you start watching the soap operas, etc., you are kind of teenager. And even, but then there was storybooks,
Yeah.
right? Where there was like I can't think of a princess storybook. Princess and the Frog. Was that a
Cinderella.
good? Cinderella, there you go.
yes.
The Sleeping Beauties
Yes.
and those ones. Come on, Tando, remembering. It was
Was
not your
that your
favorite.
favorite? It's okay. This is a safe
You said it
space.
so quickly.
This is a safe space.
We know what we're getting you for your birthday. A set of the Cinderella books.
Yeah.
So then it was interesting in my mind. My parents and these books I'm reading and the media were not the same.
It was separate entities.
They're separate entities,
Yeah.
right? Because as you said, in very traditional African household, at least it's African Kenyan household, it was not very PDA. It was not very love was very action oriented, right? And I remember my parents giving us lectures. We used to always get a lecture the day your report form comes home, etc. And it used to be, haven't you been fed? Haven't you gone to school? Are you lacking? Have you slept hungry in this household? No.
Yeah.
So can you see as your parents, we love you. So I used to be like, okay, so these
The
parents
fact
love.
that they use the word love in that aspect,
Yeah.
it's even amazing.
It is.
Yes.
But my understanding of this love is, it is action. So you've been fed, you have been. Okay. So to me, it was like, okay, this is the thing parents do. And then there's the storybooks I'm reading. And in my mind, I never wondered, wait, so these two were meant to have met in this process that media is telling me. And then now that's how they came together and they're like, let's have a family. But I never thought to myself, how did these two meet?
Yeah.
I don't know. In my head, it was just like, okay, those are the parents. So these books I'm reading and the media, etc., that's for a different kind of, now for our generation. But I was very disillusioned by the concept of there's the fantasy love, but in the real world, it was not, I never discussed it with my parents, like, oh, when you grow up, you'll meet somebody, you'll fall in love. No.
Yeah.
We're just told you go to school, you read, and then once you have your PhD, you get married.
Yeah.
They kick the can down the road to be like, maybe she'll figure it out down there.
Yeah.
But I have a similar experience, even if our structures look different.
Yeah.
And even societally looking around, I also didn't see, it was also similar to
Yes.
this. Yeah, it's very, okay, somebody has gone to work, somebody has come home, somebody's cooking, somebody's cleaning, then you on the weekend, you're told to go play, then them, they go hang out with their friends, and then, it was very much that. But I think growing now formally, I think a lot of my concept of love and relationships was shaped a whole lot more by media and less by
the family structure itself.
Because I thought that's the family love, and then now that's the real love.
Family one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. DJ,
Cinderella.
tell us about Cinderella. What influenced your ideas about love, marriage,
See,
partnership,
you guys
all those things?
you're busy, but at what age were you thinking of these things?
I don't
What
think it was
age
that
were you
much.
describing right now? Were you 20, 23?
No,
or
so as a
15,
kid, unconsciously, I didn't know that consciously I was thinking about it. Right? It's now maybe in the...
For me, it's teenage.
When you're looking, is now when you're like, okay, so then this love I'm watching, my parents are meant to have this love that I'm seeing. And that's why I was just like, so in my brain, I just compartmentalized. I was like, that's the parents' love. And how they met is now in my head, I was like, who knows? Maybe somebody will tell me, I have no idea. But then how I'm meant to find someone is this other process that media has shown me.
It's a lot of thought that was put into the whole. I'll tell you one thing for sure. at 14, 15, I wasn't thinking about that. I think the way men are raised compared to women is totally different. Though our thinking process is totally different.
But weren't you at that age, 14, 15,
Yeah.
sort of having feelings for girls, and
Yes.
you found them
Oh,
attractive?
yes, I was. Yeah, I was.
But
I
what-
was.
were you
but
thinking
not
about
in the
it?
love frame of way, the love way of thinking. No.
What was it? I'm
It
curious.
was just trying to experience what that person on TV is trying to experience. There was no love attached to
There
it.
was, but did you ever watch any like romantic movies or whatever?
Nah, no, when you're boys.
Or read Cinderella?
No.
And did you ever
I liked
think
it
to
was a cool
yourself-
cartoon, but no, honestly, it wasn't really a thought process we go through as guys. Like, it's fed to you that having a lot of conquests is what makes you a man. With the group that I hung with anyway. You know what I mean? It wasn't, no one was thinking on the basis of, oh, I'm trying to build a family. This is going to be none of our boys.
Oh, wow.
No.
Interesting.
So it was. I think that's why I'm interested in finding at what stage were you thinking this way. Even if I was raised by a single mother, but at no moment did I say that. Oh, I knew my friends. Loads of my friends had 2-parent houses, like Jackie keeps. But I never really. I was like, that's my mom, and she raised me and my brother. That's cool. I've got my friends there. They've got their 2 parents. There was times when I was like, oh yeah, that would have been cool. But I had so many male figures in my life, so many older males, and I saw. I don't think I saw it as PDA wasn't a thing as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think I saw those people there as they're in love. I just knew those were my friends' parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it in the love sense. Like the way you guys are saying it is like, yo, I could lie and say, oh yeah, well, I was a romantic at that age. No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking like that. I was a hot-blooded male out here
For
to
conquest.
prove myself as a man.
As a man.
Yeah. As difficult as it was at that time, these were all thoughts in my head.
Yeah.
Didn't really get to act any of it out. But, I think at that age, that's what boys are thinking.
So something comes to mind. At that age, in my teenage, and this is when I was in high school, we were reading a lot of Mills and Boons books.
These were in our heads. They were very raunchy.
Yes.
Now they're
What?
They're
Yes.
now they're like a storybook.
I had my
But they were-
homeboy back home whose dad had a stash.
Of Mills and Boons.
Oh, no.
of like now
Real
This is
magazines.
X-rated cassette tapes, DVR.
Wow.
So that's where we were like,
His dad had a
Yeah.
stash.
yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, his dad had a stash. We all used to pack. It was weird. Now that I think of it, it was so weird. And I don't know if I should say this out loud.
I hope they're listening. Send this to your friends.
Yeah, our boys had a stash, so we didn't know what we were watching. Well,
Yeah.
we knew what we were watching, but
But you're
we were like, why is this necessary for someone to make a tape of it?
yeah.
And
that's true.
it just didn't. But it was cool anyway because all of us are thinking, wow, that looks like fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it was completely separate about love. It
Yeah,
wasn't.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, see, we even at that age, as boys, maybe it's just me. I can't speak for my other friends, but I couldn't separate the two. I thought you find a conquest and then
that converts
thing
into
of
a-
love
comes somewhere
into,
along the way.
Those were.
So it doesn't always start with love. It
no,
starts with a
no.
conquest.
It just comes, yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
So, as what will prove it, like, I don't know if I won't do it, but yeah, that's the way we thought of it at that age. I don't know. It sounds shallow, does it?
No,
But
it's very different.
Boys are not. We're not. I don't think I was wired that way. When I was growing up, we were thinking about, I can't wait to meet my friends again tomorrow and do cool stuff.
Yeah.
We're not thinking of, that girl that I met. We don't. No.
Yeah, because I think the books, because even those Cinderella books, etc., it's interesting now when you think back and look at the stories and you realize, it was the same. It's the same thing that rom-coms are now,
Yeah.
romantic comedy movies, where it's like, you're a girl, you're in distress, you need rescuing, and then you just have to wait, and then somebody's going to come and be like, you're so beautiful.
Yeah.
You're the one I need to rescue. What has happened? And then it just converted into more of the same, but then the thing about, oh, you need to be rescued became more like, yes, you need to be rescued economically. So the man was always rich.
Yeah.
Right. So when rom-coms now came, it was just like hyper exaggerating the things that were in these storybooks
Yeah.
at a much bigger level. And I think maybe in our societies, I'm trying to figure out I guess traditionally that's what it was, whereby the man no, maybe this is where media has kind of fucked my brain up a bit. Because when I think about traditionally, right? So traditionally that I know, as much as men could have multiple wives, etc., it seemed that everyone found someone, right? So it was not that only the rich men would have wives.
Yeah.
Or multiple wives or
Yeah.
whatever. It was just everyone will have a someone. And it seemed to be more about the, how do you call it?
Continuation of
your society. So
Yeah.
making sure as a village we will have children because that's
Yeah.
how life continues and
Yeah.
whatever. So I think it feels like a lot more of that period was much more on, like, society had this agreement on the value of family was procreation, protection, right? Because if you think about hunter-gatherer days, when they would go hunt, like staying in communities was safer. Maybe that's how it progressed to being, if you have a husband, you are safer.
Yeah.
Because you mean you have someone who can physically protect your home.
Yeah.
Then that translated into now you're more respected and things
Yeah.
like that. But I think I don't hear love being a cornerstone of those traditional settings. It was more of the value of we want children and continuity for this, and probably economic strength.
Yes, but I think something changed along the way, and I read a lot of Ngugi wa Thiong'o books, and I think his stories were based around, could be during the colonial times, maybe the 50s there, the 40s. That time, there was a lot of love-based relationships. And I learned through that Kikuyu, now my culture is like, people coming together was love-based. Like you saw a girl, because we used to sing about girls who were beautiful, and they had a name for them called Nyarari or something. Beautiful girls. You saw a girl, she had a gap on her tooth, and you fell in love with this girl. And then you went and made intent to the family that I want to marry this girl. And she may have had many suitors, yeah? Sorry, you wanted to say something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that love or lust? Or pure attraction? Because they didn't court, this dating we're doing now
Yes.
didn't exist.
Yes, maybe that was their translation of love.
Yeah.
Because you must.
Simpler times.
It is lust, love,
Attraction, just pure
yes.
animal.
Yes, instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of physicality in how you saw somebody attractive.
Yes.
Even big hips.
Based on if you have big hips, she's fertile. We can have many children.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Yes,
And I
yes.
love that
What
person.
if more than one person comes to the house?
I think it was the woman also had to agree who they wanted to be with. Yeah. But there were some cultures, I think the Maasais or something. I think it was the first person who comes or the one who says they're going to give as many cows or something.
And some, they would just take the girl on the way. You had gone to fetch water with your friends.
Yeah, you get kidnapped.
You're taken. So then your family, then now the people will come to your family and say, we're the ones who took your girl.
Yes, they will send.
Yes. Yeah. And I think the criteria for agreeing to keeping the girl was, I guess much more simpler in terms of, and at least I know some of our tribes was based on, as long as you're not our clan, because you couldn't marry within because your clan could also mean extended family. So it was like, oh, you're not from the same clan, all right, fine.
Yeah.
You can, and there was a standard for 10 cows, cool, all right. But then also they used to investigate to make sure, is that family good? They have no history of disease or whatever it is. All right, collect your cows. go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this courting, the dating, basically didn't exist, which is why
No,
I find it fascinating when they say the love then and the love now, I think are very, the concept of love back then was you grow to love the person you're with.
No, I feel like maybe, and for me, I'm going to say here, it depends, I guess, yeah? As the theme of our podcast is, yeah?
Yes.
I think from society, traditionally now, and we're speaking from our own experience, which is our Kenyan experience, and having grown interculturally, so between different cultures, is that there were some cultures where love was important. So courting happened in terms of you would see this girl and you would talk to this girl and the girl would like you back and you would keep meeting secretly. But the thing is, you could never, the worst thing you could do is to make this girl pregnant.
Yes, so you could not physically, you could not, I'm reading some book by a Ugandan writer, I need to remember it.
Yeah.
The name. So you could not, there could not be physical interaction.
Yes.
Ideally, yes, you were meeting in secret.
Yeah.
But like, for example, in this book I'm reading, it's, I don't know, I guess it's based on the Baganda, I'm not sure. You needed to have, you'd have somebody like who knows where you are all the time.
Yes.
So you're there talking to the boy, they're sitting here.
Yes.
To make sure
it
that
was supervised, actually. Some of this was supervised.
It was supervised.
Yeah.
But even then, it was not, I feel like the courting then and the courting now are just like on two different planets.
Definitely, yeah.
Because back then it was understanding children. It was, now there's things of like values.
Am I happy?
Do you like Taylor Swift? Am I happy? What's your favorite color?
Do you like your bed warm,
yes.
cold?
And then it's like, there's just so much more rigmarole now.
Yeah.
And then now there's been media influence. Throw social media on top of that. You have red flags, green flags, orange flags, gray flags. Like you need to figure out, okay, if someone does this or maybe that's not it. He didn't pick me up on the first date. He did. Oh my! It is just
50-50 is another big one. I paid for my meal.
Yeah. It's just, so I feel like it's very different. So I think we use the same terms, but in reality, what is being described are two different things.
Yeah.
I think it's also unfair the way girls are treated sometimes.
Right now, or
No,
way
just
back?
even when you were saying, but going back to where you said something about the way you were raised to go to college and then get your degree and then go and look for a husband or husband. During that whole period, you're not meant to talk to anybody.
Nope.
Yes.
No experiences whatsoever, no life experiences, and then boom, become a professional.
Yeah.
That's how most of these men are getting away with a lot of the things because they're dealing with people who have got no experience or in life whatsoever.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're entitled to, what they should accept or shouldn't accept. If someone comes and slaps your ass and you've never been in situations where there's a lot of men around, she would think that's what happens to women.
Yeah.
Because she's never been put in those situations to experience life. She's just been doing her books until she got her degree and then boom, she's put in front of people there.
Yeah.
Get married.
We've not been taught how to date. And I think what's unfortunate is we have been taught by media.
Yeah.
And now we are being taught by our peers
True.
through social media.
Yeah.
Like movies.
Who are winging it. And so now they say, you know what I did? So you're thinking, oh shit, let me wing it like that person.
Yeah.
But it's like no one's
reality, it's
really
not like that.
teaching us.
No.
And if I think about what you're saying, if younger men are just going through life thinking about conquests, and here we are thinking about love.
Yeah.
I hope he likes the color blue like me.
Yeah.
So you're thrown the same dating scene with that person who's not thinking, you're not even thinking
we're not
the
even
same.
there. We're not even there.
Yeah.
You know, in a perfect world, would both understand the things but you're too young to be balancing those things out with the growing up and becoming popular. These things are happening to your body, and you're finding the world. You're beginning to drive. You're popular. Girls are around now, and there's something called love. What?
Yeah.
I've heard of it. Sounds familiar. Seen it in a movie once. You know.
You know, I have my nephew who's 11, and he started dating, being very interested with a certain girl at age 9, and they would have play dates. You know, they're on video call throughout the day, to a point where the parents had to sit down and decide, oh, these video calls are too much. They're not doing their
9?
homework. Yes, a girl in school. And you can't, as a parent, you can't tell them, don't do this because this is a girl and you're a boy. You let them go through that experience of,
Yeah.
oh, I like this person.
Yeah.
But you see, in our time, and these are Gen Alphas now, in our time as millennials, that was unheard of.
Hey.
Even talking to, if a neighbor's parent saw you talking to a boy,
Yes.
your
by
mother
yourself.
will know before you
Hey,
get home.
You walk in first of all with a slap. You're like, wait, what happened?
You
what
were seen.
happened? You were seen. Hey, Lord.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. But look, you know, I'll never. There was a time in my life where I thought, the elders could have done so many different things to make our lives much better. But they were working with the best tools that they had.
They were.
Yeah.
I think before their period, they learned things that their parents did that they didn't do.
Yeah.
They removed that. So now we have to do the same for the
next ones.
next generation.
Yeah.
So as we go, things will get better.
Yeah.
But those are the best tools that they had, and then they used them because that's all they knew.
They knew, that's true.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Now all of us are now smart.
Are we?
Yeah, no, we've got smartphones and the internet, and we know everything.
I thought you meant smart in love.
No, we've got the internet now. We think we know better. I think there's no place for disrespecting the elders because they just did things differently.
Yeah.
It was their period in life, and they did things the way they understood to.
True.
You know?
I do wish I would know more the context certain things. Because I think in a few episodes, I forgot which one, we've talked about, many times we've mentioned things that our elders did were not like, they were thinking, oh, let's figure out a way to like just do this random ritual that makes no sense. It made sense to them,
yeah.
at that time.
Yeah.
So sometimes I wish I'd understand what were those things that led you to come up with this kind of structure, like social structure.
Yeah.
Then maybe that would help us know, okay, times have changed. The concept makes sense. How do we maintain that, but then
Adapt it to
now?
Yeah.
I think that would be more helpful because there's a lot of, because and again, they always say there's nothing new under the sun. So, which is, I think, is very true. As human beings, we have not been here 10 years.
Yeah.
We've been here a bunch of thousands of years. So there must be things that just are happening and they're going around. Like we're just cyclical in a lot of our behaviors and habits and things like that. But it would be nice to know, that's why that's being done. Let's figure out how do we make it helpful, but also try to future-proof it such that when the Gen Alphas are in their 20s, they're like, we get why these guys did this.
Yeah.
So let's adapt it to us.
Yeah.
And also think, now the 2 generations next, how would this be more helpful for them?
You know, I've seen, and I wish like everybody who has this information either writes a book, writes a blog, or puts it up on social media. The people that I am loving the most recently is the people who on social media write or try explain some of our cultural, cultural celebrations.
Yeah.
Like, why do we do certain things? There are a couple of them. I think I may have mentioned 1 or 2. And again, I was reading today a blog written by somebody about certain cultures about marriage. And in essence, what came to mind was, we don't give ourselves grace a lot in terms of, we have our traditional culture in how we understand love and marriage. And again, we were colonized and we were brought for things related to colonialism. And
before that, the religion came in.
There was colonialism and religion came together.
In, yes.
So again, I'm on TikTok most of the time. I mentioned this a lot. Somebody was explaining some traditions related to why we do certain things in weddings. Like, for example, like the bouquet of flowers. Do you know why a bouquet of flowers is held?
No clue.
So apparently, back in the days, people used to have a shower in May, a bath. And this was the time for weddings. Because people were very smelly back in the days, you needed fragrance.
I didn't think that's
So flowers were a way to
mask your terrible smell.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yes. Actually, some of these traditions that we do for,
What kind of flowers will cover a stench from someone who hasn't showered for?
I guess if everybody is stank, no, it's not good. You'll be the one smelling a bit better.
You smell less bad.
You smell less bad. So this is why flowers and bouquet of flowers became a thing in some of the traditions. And again, these are unverified information that I get online. Something else that I learned is why people wear, why they're bridesmaids, These are things that we've incorporated in our...
Yeah, that's a good point. What are those for?
Yes. So apparently, bridesmaid was sort of a way to ward off bad energy. So when there was bad energy coming to get the bride, it wouldn't know who to choose. And back in the days, they used to wear also...
used to wear
almost very close to the bride. Yeah. So there's some... Again, we have our own African traditions and cultures of how we celebrate marriage, and the union. But also we've adopted so many other things that we don't even know why we do them.
What the point is, yeah.
What the point is.
True.
And some of these are either Christian-based or they are culturally based of colonialists.
Yeah, so
know?
some Eurocentric
culture. Yeah. So it's amazing and fascinating, but we need to give ourselves grace that we are working with a lot where we don't even know
That's true.
where some of it comes from.
We should do better.
Yeah.
Okay, now, follow-up question.
Yeah.
Now we've talked about where we've come from, the influences. What influences you when it comes to now love, dating, and all the ships now?
Now,
yes,
I think I go with how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, if I was to dig back, and this has been transition of 2 decades or so.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to go back, it was I wanted to be in love because it was the thing to do. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be in a relationship. I wanted to get married because everybody was doing it and it's what was expected of me. Mm-hmm. But with time, my influences have been, does this make sense to me? Do I feel comfortable with this person? Are we compatible? Mm-hmm. So it was no longer me accepting whatever comes along. Mm-hmm. It was, it's more based on how I feel about the person. Do we have the same values? Mm-hmm. Do I see myself with this person? Am I happy? Mm-hmm. And that's what influences me. Mm-hmm. I would not lie and say that social media has not come into play in some of these things. And mainly because once somebody, everybody would hyper-focus and say, this person is handsome, this person is beautiful. They look a certain way. And then all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? Yeah, actually, I like them. I like them as well. So the way physically, for me, the influence of what I find attractive physically has been influenced by social media. Yeah, social media, yeah. But for other things, I think a lot of it has to do with how I feel about the person, the values, as I mentioned, and compatibility. And for me, also, it's important that economically we are at a certain level. Yeah.
Has living outside of Kenya influenced how you're thinking and how you feel about love or dating or the ships now?
Yes, a lot. I've spent the last 10 years abroad, away from Kenya. So most of my recent dating experience is influenced a lot by some of Eurocentric way of dating. For example, this is a 50-50 society, yes. So if I go for dinner, at the very beginning, I was like, oh, okay, a man has taken me out for dinner. So, of course, they're going to pay for my drinks or they're going to pay for the dinner. And then I came and realized, oh, I have to put out of pocket 50-50. So, definitely, how I date and how I show up for a date, yes. Culturally, this has influenced. Partnerships, how I view marriage as well, because here people partner more before they choose legal binding of marriage. So I'm like, okay, that could be something I could do, I look at it that way. What else? Also growing and being more mature, has changed.
Time.
And
experience.
And the older I get, the more I don't stand any nonsense, actually. Yeah. And nonsense being me being outside of my comfort zone to accommodate another person.
Yeah.
Again, what you were saying about it is about me. Yes, it is about me. I'm not. Yes, it is about me.
Is it about me? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
What about you?
Okay, so for me, how has yeah, I think a lot has changed since, like, from where and what I used to think about love and dating and marriage and all that. I think I've gone through a long period of my life where I stopped being religious. And I think with that, there's a lot of things I had to unlearn or decouple. And a big part of that was this concept of, how just partnership, marriage, love, how that all looks like. So that definitely, I had to do a lot more kind of self-reflection.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest shift or thing I have seen and experienced is maybe trusting myself more. And I realize a lot of my views of any kind of intimate relationship was very much dictated by society and people who are very influential in my life. So it could be friends, family, etc. I cared a lot about what people thought. So I remember staying in relationships that I should have left way earlier, but it's because everyone was like, they are so nice. Oh, but he's so nice. Oh, I think
By
he's going to want to marry
standards.
you. He's baby. Yeah, so by society standards, everyone thought I was mad for being like, I don't know if I should be in this thing. But everyone was just like, what do you mean? The right age, they're doing the right things.
They have a good
they
job.
have, all these things that I think when now, like after some time, I was like, you know what? I think listening to everyone else has not brought me any good, right? And then people who I genuinely could have given more of a chance or whatever, maybe people thought they were like, oh, that they are not good enough by whatever metric they've decided. So yes, I think a lot more has shifted for me in terms of a lot of self-reflection and unlearning, especially from decoupling a lot of things from the religious aspect of things. So definitely yes. Also from a media and social media perspective, I've gone the opposite now. So I have compartmentalized all the rom-com and all that as that's fun for entertainment. But I don't think it reflects real life. So I try my best. I feel like I don't know if anyone is fully immune, but I had to do a lot to kind of just be like, that's a fun. It's like a fantasy video game. It's like an Avengers movie. Like that's fun. but I don't know if it truly reflects the reality.
I have, sorry, let me cut you short
Yeah, no,
a
go
little
ahead.
bit on that, especially on social media, because I've found a lot of wealth from social media, and especially from people who help you navigate what dating looks like. Like, social media is not always about people showing off their lives. There are also people who are maybe even coaches, they're dating coaches. There are people who are there who are talking about relationship. There's therapists who come and talk about things that they see in their couches. So when they talk about this on social media, I listen, because I may not have the money to go find myself a one-on-one dating coach. So do you feel like for you, you've bundled all of them together, as long as they're on social media, they're...
So well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So I trust therapists. I do a lot of by default I have to do a lot of therapy.
Yeah.
So I trust, that's an entity I kind of trust a bit more.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, or I know and I see that there's an education behind this.
Yes.
And there's a rigorous kind of
Yes.
process for you
Yeah.
to be a therapist,
Yeah.
a psychiatrist,
Yeah.
etc. I generally don't trust coaches
Okay.
because I feel like it's a very loosey-goosey space.
Yeah.
Like who determines you that you're here's a certificate that you're a dating coach?
Yeah.
Is there a standard? Is there a metric? Is there a, maybe it's a scientist in me, but I'm like, I don't feel like it's a very well managed space.
Yes.
So I don't trust dating coaches,
But therapists,
relationship coach.
but therapists who are on social media giving advice about dating.
I would listen, but I also think a lot of things. Here's my critique on with regards to social media. I do think there's a lot of value in it. I do think, however, that a lot of things, content has to be digested and put out in a very specific kind of format.
Yeah.
Where it's like, here are the 5 things, and has to be said
Yeah,
really
yeah.
quickly for this video that's
Yeah.
10 seconds or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I think it lacks a lot of nuance and a lot of context. So if someone says, oh, hey, if this person, blah, 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 that's terrible. And this is this, and this is that. But I'm like, but if somebody gave you the context, I'm not sure you'd go with the same result. You'd be like, you know what? It depends. I don't know if that's the true outcome of that thing. So I think there is value, but I think in the time we live now, where a lot of things information has to be quick and fast, and attention is very short. A lot of these folks who are actual professionals have to tailor their content for that, and sometimes I'm not sure if it fully
It's
is
making the impact that they want to. Yeah.
So so I think most things I'm just like, that's cool, and I look at things as entertainment. But there are people who may not have access to
Yeah.
a therapist in regular life or whatever. So I do see how these snippets can be helpful, but I'm trying to learn to be more like, listen to myself and understand how I feel about things, right? Because sometimes you could be like, oh, I feel a certain thing about this thing. And maybe it takes time for me to understand or unearth and be like, the reason I feel that way or my reaction to this thing is, okay, now I see where that has come from. Especially because I think I used to be a very snap kind of, I'd be in a relationship and then something odd happened and I'm just like, fuck it, I'm out.
Yeah.
Right? So I used to be very kind of
snap decisions.
Yeah. So I think I'm trying to simplify.
Okay.
I think I've become much more simplified in my thoughts about dating, love, relationships. Also, I used to be the person who you would have, again, maybe probably from social media, who had like couple goals. I'm like, oh man, then I realized, a lot of what we see is not the reality.
Yeah.
Not saying that no one's happy or but it's just, you see snapshots of things in life, and I think we tend to now summarize that this entire thing is based on this little snapshot. and I think I give people the space and grace to be like, human beings as an individual, a human being is super complicated. Throw two of them with
Yeah.
whatever background together, and truly it's just you people choosing each other every day,
Yeah.
because
Small decisions.
most of it shit just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right? So I think I'm much more lenient and forgiving, and just being like, and I think also understanding that my concept of love now has also grown outside of just relationship, like romantic or
Yeah.
intimate relationships. In terms of, what, I need to start thinking of, if you're with someone, they say like, oh, I love this person and they're my best friend, or they're my friend, and they're all these things. That's how I should feel about all my friends. So I'm trying to like stop compartmentalizing, being like, oh, this is the one, and then these other people are just a supporting cast in my life. And being like, no, if these people in my life, they all deserve to experience all of me, and the love that I have should not just be for this one concentrated person, and the rest of you are just there. So and I think living in diaspora definitely has been a huge part, but more because I think society and all these people were very much in my ear. I think it's been a lot of the change from not being, or from being away from Kenya, is also kind of remove that noise. And I'm able to just be okay with my choices. Versus being like anxious and being like, you know what, damn it, let me just do it. My aunties will stop bothering me about this thing, right? Versus now I'm just like, truly, this life is not a rehearsal. This is what we have. And I would not want to be miserable just because I'm making someone in Kenya who I cross their mind only on Christmas. And what they think.
When you were talking about different types of love and having your love unboundless, like when it comes to friendships and a romantic relationship, something came into mind. When I moved here, when was this? 2016. I was dating. I was on the apps. I was swiping, and I was dating and meeting different people from different cultures, different countries. And one thing that actually blew my mind was there was this person I met, and we were talking about what love looks like. And for them, they told me love for them is not for one single person. So they do see love as, if they love you as Jackie, they also want somebody who gives them space to love me as Caroline. So for them, love it cannot be only for one person. So again, this is some concept of polygamy in a different set. But
Should be the next episode.
we can talk about polygamy and all the other means that exist. But I found that fascinating because I came with a mindset of dating in Europe. You only date one single person. This is the person that you will be in love with forever. And there's nothing wrong with that. But also meeting other people who don't believe in loving one single person. And then me tying back to, in Kenya, we had polygamy for different reasons, probably for economic reasons. But here people look at polygamy for other reasons. And it does exist. There's, it does
like
exist.
The polyamory. Which is, I think sometimes maybe that's why I think about that back in our traditional times, that unions were not a love-based thing. Because now when somebody asks you like, oh yeah, so your partner, what if he loves someone else? And you think to yourself, man, what? No, I'd be jealous. Like, what do you mean? And that's what makes me think, back then, it was not a transactional union, and you all grow to love each other. So even if there's 5 more, it's all good. Because, as my parents say, have you eaten?
Have you?
You've
gone to school. Your school fees are paid. You have shoes on your feet.
Shoes. We're all good. If you had to bring 6 more, as long as I can still
Yeah.
eat well,
Yeah.
and my children are fed well, it's all good.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes, again, I think we use the same terms, but I think in different settings,
Yeah.
if the impetus was different, they could really mean very different things. With guy friends, nobody's saying like, yo, I really like. There's no conversation about
None whatsoever.
hi.
Never.
Maybe
You're
we are
not
doing,
saying
we
they're
are
not
doing
saying,
life
oh, I like
wrong.
that. Oh yeah, okay. I think we as
I think
women we overthink
we're
it.
doing life wrong.
So I'm not out here discussing. Oh, okay. That sounds great.
And then she's like this.
So these
Oh, and
movies
then-
really have lied to us. Really.
So we are the ones who are targeted by the rom-coms and
I think so.
Yes.
100%. When I watch a rom-com, it's cool to watch. Yeah, it's nice.
So your algorithm on social media is not feeding you couple goals like
No. Me, it's usually DJ, sport, politics. I'm into politics now these days for some reason.
I'm into politics, but the algorithm really ever feeds me politics.
maybe as a social experiment, we should go change our profiles to male, and then we see if that actually changes our algorithm. I'm gonna change. Actually, my profiles. I'm on TikTok and I'm on Instagram. I'm gonna change because it asks you, are you male or female? And I think you have an option.
I'm going to create a Finsta, a male one.
No, I'll just do mine and change and see if the algorithm changes.
going to change.
Yes. That's my social experiment to
Because
report
we are
next week.
truly overthinking life.
Yes.
The conclusion of this episode is: Are we overthinking?
Are
it?
we overthinking
Yes,
life?
women. We are overthinking this shit.
We are, I guess we are. And we're being fed as things that keep our narrative going, honestly.
That is wow.
Yes.
So I should just have been going through life just being like, oh, you're cool.
You're cool.
All
Let's
right.
do this.
Yeah, we are truly overthinking this shit.
Okay.
Hi. Okay. All right. Yeah, that is the conclusion of this episode.
We will be
women,
back next week
We
with
are
a report.
overthinking it. Yes, we are overthinking this stuff.
Yes.
For real. Oh my God.
So thanks for tuning in.
Yes,
and
yes.
Tell us what you think.
Yeah.
Would love to hear your comments about love, dating, relationship.
Yes.
Anything.
All the ships.
All the ships that float your boat.
Yes.
We love those as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.